Hey, everybody, it's me, John Ward, and welcome back to another film discussion. And I'm here with my co host, Donald Wills. And we are back with our regular guest, who knows, might eventually become part of this whole thing on a regular basis if he wants to, but he has so much to do,
We'll
is
see.
Jonathan A. Moody.
Hey, how you doing?
We're doing good, or at least I know I'm doing good. How are you, Donald?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Got my
And
Pennywise hat on. I'm doing good.
I think it's weird that you guys have that stuff up when we're here to talk about Dean Koontz.
I thought we were here to talk about R.L. Stein.
Oh, fuck, we're all on the wrong things.
Oh, shit. Oops.
Damn. Oops.
I thought we were talking about
bye,
the
bye,
Twilight
everybody.
movies.
Bye, bye.
The Twilight movies.
The Twilight movie, not the books, but the Twilight movies.
Just the movies. The books don't exist.
Wait, there are books on the Twilight stuff?
Sadly, yes. So, but yes, we are here to discuss all things Stephen King. So we can discuss books, we can discuss movies, we could discuss TV, we could discuss music if we want to. We could discuss plays because even Carrie was a play. We can, yeah, you can actually find a couple versions of it on YouTube, and because high schools put it on, oddly enough, but there are some.
Yeah, that's
more...
even odd. That's even odder. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, there is a I guess they did record it, like the original one. It does float out there somewhere. Float. I made an It reference without even realizing it. So there you
We
go.
all float down here.
That's right. And Don, you are down at the bottom there. So yeah, you do float down there. So, but yeah, so we all love Stephen King, and we watch Stephen King, and it looks like from what Donald has, he probably reads more Stephen King than either one of us. But and he'll be showing those off shortly. I read a bunch of Stephen King up to a certain point, and then I kind of stopped. So I need to get back into it. Most of my Stephen King stuff is PDF, so I really only have like a couple actual books. But I got a PDF. I did a download, and I got all those up to a certain point. But I just kind of stopped.
Don't let Stephen King hear that. Jesus.
I know him with that one eye just staring at me there.
I know. Well, I was trying to the way it's set up is not, perfect for actually being. I don't like being to the side. It's always weird, So I have to be in the middle, and then I'm just, covering half his face.
Yeah, you are. Looks like you got a date.
Makes
there
him
with
look more sinister.
It
It
does.
looks like my head is his eye.
It does. Maybe it is. Maybe that's a King story right there. My head is his eye. So, but yeah, so that's and what we're gonna show off some stuff that we have. My collection is small compared to what I have on the shelf. So if we ever do a follow-up to this video, I'll bring out more, but I didn't want to show everything. I don't want
to have a much bigger collection.
Yeah,
I'm actually missing one of my Blu-rays. So it's somewhere in my stuff, but it's not where it's supposed to be. So
so we Jonathan, do you wanna go first with showing us your stuff?
I'm gonna actually take this thing off, this background, because it's really such difficult. A bitch to whoop. All right, that's a lot of different backgrounds.
Is that a background too? Or is that
nope, that's my fucking nasty ass room.
Oh.
All right, well, gotta move that out of the way. All right. Okay. Let's see if I can go over here.
Yeah, and we'll get into after we show off our stuff, we'll get into like how did we discover Stephen King, if you can remember what the first film was, the first book you read, that type of stuff. We'll get into it a little bit more.
Woo. All right. Definitely will. But first off, I get these in alphabetical order, by the way. I have 11 Blu-rays and 1 4K, and the 4K will be last. So the Blu-rays are Carrie, the original Carrie.
The original, okay.
The original. Yeah. Then the remake. Not part 2, but the remake.
I haven't seen
that.
with Chloe Grace Moretz.
I really want them to release the director's cut, which I've heard is closer to the book, while this is closer to De Palma's Carrie.
Oh, okay.
I've only seen the miniseries. Have you seen the miniseries?
You've never seen De Palma's one with?
I've seen the original. I've seen the original Carrie in the miniseries, but I haven't seen the remake.
It's close. It's got some parts of the book in it. My whole problem with Carrie, with any of these, and I guess Sissy Spacek would be the closest thing to matching the book, even though she doesn't, is all the women who play Carrie are hot.
And in the book, she's supposed to be ugly. She's not attractive. She's not popular at all. Yeah, she's like, I think like 4'8" or something, fat, oily skin, pimples, her hair's gross. And Sissy Spacek, I think, is much better looking today than she was when she was younger. She aged really well. But she would be the closest, I guess, back then. But Chloe is just way too good looking. Way too good looking for this. It's almost like a Mean Girls type of thing. That she should almost like the Mean Girls should like her because she's, telekinetic.
Yeah. So they can use that to their advantage.
Yeah.
Which I've never thought about, but I'm surprised that never became part of a story of people deciding to use the telekinetic person for evil, purposes or whatever, and that kind of thing. So anyway, next is Stephen King's Cat's Eyes. Cat's Eye. Sorry.
Cat's Eye.
No, just a one eye.
There is one eye there. Just one eye is on there. Yeah, that's got some good stuff.
And then there's Drew Barrymore too, right?
Yeah.
And Drew Barrymore. And then we've got Stephen King's Children of the Corn.
Of
classic.
Course. The original. Yep.
The original. Oh, and then probably one of my favorite of the movies, Christine.
Love it.
Not everybody loves it, but it's John Carpenter and Stephen King. You can't go wrong with that.
One of the very first Stephen King movies I've actually seen.
Nice.
Actually, I think it's the second one. A buddy of mine gave me a bootleg copy. We won't tell nobody. But
you just told the world. But all right.
Yeah, you just told all of our 20 viewers.
And only 13 of them will view it.
Yeah.
They won't get past the intro.
Maybe.
All right. So then next is another Drew Barrymore, obviously. Firestarter, the original.
So much better than the remake. Oh my God.
I've heard that.
It's so awful. Oh my God.
And I've heard the new Children of the Corn wasn't great either.
Oh, we're going to talk about that because I did see it. So.
All right. And then the original It, with Tim Curry as Pennywise.
Still my favorite It.
And then It Volume 1. Don't have Volume 2. I saw Volume 2 in the theater and it was
You can, there's a double feature.
Haven't got around. I do want to have it just because I'm kind of like you. I'm a completist, so if I have part 1, I want to have part 2. But I liked part 1 better, and then was kind of really disappointed by part 2. Just because in the beginning it really fucking pissed me off. But we can talk about that.
Well, later. That's the same thing with the original. Everybody likes the stuff with the kids, but they don't like the stuff with the adults. And the problem is that's not how the book is. The book goes back and forth.
Yeah. Right.
It's not divided up into two things. So I don't know why they chose to go that route again.
Both times where they could have just did something different, but whatever. Next is the only one he's ever directed. AXEMAS Tubi.
Yes. Such a I so wish they.
Why is this ATM calling me an a-hole?
Honey, just called me an a-hole. I really wish they could find the uncut version of that with all the blood, but they said it's just gone. It's just not to be found.
Interestingly enough, this has commentary by actor and comedian Jonah Ray and Blumhouse film executive Ryan Turek.
Okay.
I mean, I guess if they're fans of this movie, maybe they got, they did a lot of research on it, but that's just a random thing. Now, this is one of my newest ones, and this will be in my haul, and you know, this for Blu-ray Hunter, this coming up, but Misery.
Ah, yes.
That's the Scream Factor. I do have the original Misery. I did not bring that, you know, the original like Blu-ray of it or whatever before the Scream Factory one. But I picked one Misery that I, you know.
Which is okay because there's always video number 2.
There's always more misery out there.
Right. Yes.
So next is my last Blu-ray, and that is Salem's Lot.
Ah, the original.
Nice.
The original, yes. So that's I actually saw that after I bought it, and I think it was out in LA, and I was like, good movie. Good fucking movie. Like, it's a mini series kind of thing, so it's long, but it's definitely worth it, you know. And then was
that a steel cover? A steel book?
That's a steel book. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's nice. Looking,
I was looking at it. I like that.
It's
a lot better than the original Blu-ray. I do have the original Blu-ray cover.
Yeah,
I like that cover better.
Yeah, it's got a good cover. It kind of looks Nosferatu-y.
Yeah, it has very little to do with the book, but that's, you know.
And then last but not least, my only 4K of Stephen King, and that is The Shining. That's a classic. That's sort of
the one directed by Mick Garris, I see.
Which is really funny because I didn't realize this, but this is in alphabetical order still, too. This would have been, whether or not this was, you know, like, this is in alphabetical order when Salem's Lot to Shining. So, there you go.
Now,
so
does it say 12. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining on the front? Or is it just The Shining?
Does.
There we go.
Unless you know it's Stanley Kubrick's. Just like John Carpenter's Christine, I'm sure.
Well, they had to they put his name on it because everybody was saying this isn't Stephen King. So right. I think when they did the Mick Garris miniseries is when they started calling it Stanley Kubrick's, and then there was Stephen King's.
Yeah.
All right, bear with me, guys. I gotta find the what the heck? That is not.
What is that?
I don't know. Don't ask.
Godzilla, I think.
It was Godzilla.
Son of Godzilla.
It was all attack. All monsters attack or whatever.
Ah. All righty, so that's it.
That's it for
nice.
Mine.
Sweet. All right, Donald, you want to go? What do you got for us?
Sure. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the small mass market paperback books I have, which I only have a few, so I'll go through them real quickly. First one we got is Carrie.
Nice.
The very first Stephen King book I've ever read. And at the time, I didn't even know it was his first book, so...
Yeah. Thanks to his wife.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Cujo?
Yep, good one, good one. Good cover on that, too.
Everyone's favorite entity.
IT.
IT.
So is that the type of person you get when you call IT for computer problems? You get that funny looking
Pennywise
clown?
when you call for, you know.
Call Pennywise for all your doll problems.
That sounds like a great Saturday Night Live skit, you know? Right? Like, you know, Pennywise answering the phone call, like,
yeah, somebody's having problems. Damn, I got a virus, and they call.
I have a virus, and he answers the phone, going, like, "You're all gonna float down here," and he's like, there, like,
"Yes, I'm just trying to fix this, Mr. Pennywise."
Like, you know, yeah. So there's funny shit you could do with that.
He has like the name badge on that just says Pennywise.
Or it just says Pennywise, and then at the bottom it says IT.
I finally read this book at the end of last year, The Stand.
It's one of my favorites from him. Yeah,
and it's so freaking massive. Funny story, I think this thing almost broke my back.
Yeah, I remember when it came out. It was a very big deal.
Oh, yeah. I also have the hardcover of that, too, so I might show that one off. Misery.
Yep.
I've not read the book, seen the movie, but I haven't read the book.
Oh, yet. Open it up. Does it have King in the opening there? They just open the cover.
No, it has the.
Yeah. So look at that Stephen King. Look how many muscles he has and everything.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Is it supposed to be like one of those Harlequin romance
I didn't even
novels?
notice that until you said.
That is funny. I wonder if like Stephen asked for that, you know.
I didn't notice it was Stephen King until you said something. Wow.
That's funny.
Night Shift, which I gotta say, that is my favorite artwork.
It's nice.
One of my favorite artwork. That's a great artwork.
I thought it would be like, I thought it's the hand, not the stand, the hand.
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot.
Good one. Always a good one.
And The Shining.
Yep. That I wish he would release uncut.
I will say, unpopular opinion, this is on almost everyone's favorite list. This is probably my least favorite book.
There was a whole episode of Friends about how Joey has to keep it in the in the freezer because it scares him so much. And then Rachel reads it and gets really scared and puts it in her freezer.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I also got the first 4 books of the Dark Tower series. This is the Gunslinger, The Drawing of the Three, The Wastelands, and
each one gets thicker.
Yeah. I mean, this is his only fantasy / style series or whatever. I it has so many genres mixed together. It's not even funny. So
he has like you can go on to Google or whatever and like the Dark Tower is in the middle and it will like branch off to all the books.
Yeah. I mean, every one of his books is all connected to the Dark Tower. So
yeah.
I mean, it's pretty cool. He was doing MCU before MCU was cool.
That's right. And Mike Flanagan is now going to be doing doing the Gunslinger series, probably for Netflix.
And of course,
here's you say that, but like Marvel's been making comics longer than Stephen King's been writing. So,
well, okay, fair enough.
So he stole it from Marvel. So he stole the ideas from Marvel because they've been doing that shit.
Oh my god! Why don't you just marry Kevin Feige? Jeez.
I would, but I think he's married already.
You need to fire that guy's ass.
You need to shut your mouth. How that?
Some people may not know, but Stephen King actually wrote under a pseudonym of Richard Bachman.
Yep.
So I only have 2 of his books under Richard Bachman, which is Blaze and Thinner. This
I didn't even know he did that as Richard Bachman.
Yeah, flip it. And show the picture on the back. So that's supposed to be Richard Bachman, but it's actually Stephen King's editor.
That's funny.
Yeah. And
so instead
he actually wrote under a different name. He wrote under 2. He does.
Yeah, I can't remember what the other one was.
Yeah, one short story. I think it's The Glass Floor. He does under a different name, but he only used that name once.
There was another one I think that he wrote like something about baseball or something like that because he was a big Yankees fan.
Well, he also, I believe didn't he do Stand By Me as Richard Bachman or no?
No, that's King. But he did the story as The Body, not Stand By Me. Yeah, it's in different seasons.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
All right. So, like I said, I'm not going to go through all of these, but I'll just name off the titles. I have 11/22/63, which is the only alternate history book he ever wrote, with I guess him trying to go back in time and stop the JFK assassination. So, I think it was a series as well.
It was with James Franco. Yeah, it was like a limited series.
Okay. Bag of Bones, The Dark Half, Dolores Claiborne, Dreamcatcher. You know what? Let me see if I can zoom you guys in.
I will say, The Dark Half is the most faithful I have ever seen of any of his books being made into a movie. I mean, it literally is the book, or the movie is the book.
Oh yeah, okay. We got The Eye of the Dragon, which is the if you've read The Stand, this is the very first time you get to see Randall Flagg.
Ah.
Well, it's not the first time, but it's his first what do you call it? Like incantation or whatever. Like his first.
Yeah, he goes by like 5 different names or something.
Yeah, he's like different. Everything is eventual. I'm just gonna go ahead and share these. At least show the ones that, you know, are a little less known. Everything eventual.
Good. Short stories.
From a Buick 8, which I haven't read, but I heard everyone said mixed opinions about it.
That's the one that King thought of quitting writing over. Because he's like, oh my God, I'm duplicating From a Buick 8. Because he's like, oh my God, I'm now duplicating myself. I've already done the Killer Car book.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Full Dark No Stars, Gerald's Game, which if you watch one of his conferences, his wife, he says his wife makes fun of him. He's like, next book you're gonna write about is a couch.
Yeah. He did write a story about a guy on a chair who turns into gray matter.
By the way, the baseball book he did as Richard Bachman is called The Long Walk. And I just looked it up on Amazon. Apparently, if you want to buy a copy of it, it's $491. So.
Well, it's in the Bachman books, but The Long Walk is not baseball.
It's not?
No, it's about teenagers that are on the road, and if they stop or faint, they get shot.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, the Bachman books, if you can find it, you should grab it because it has rage in it.
Yes, that's the one you want to find if you can find it. I'm still on the hunt for that because Rage he took out of publication.
Yeah, because of Columbine.
Because of the school shooting that happened.
Yeah, he feels partially responsible.
Does he? So did they read that or something before they did their killings? Did they read his book?
They supposedly found a copy of Rage in the kid's locker. So that's why he felt responsible. So he undid everything.
Oh, but like it. Yeah, you know, once again, it goes to that what Kevin Williamson brought up in like the Scream 2 kind of thing. Is like you can't blame, you know, the you can't blame the movies or the, you know, or books or anything on, you know, on people's behaviors. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, but
we do, unfortunately.
It is the Green Mile. I also have the serialized versions, but they are not with me. So
yeah,
Shawshank Redemption,
Insomnia.
Cool. Insomnia is good. Yeah, those serialized versions of Green Mile were really cool when they first came out. They only came out like once a week. One of them came out.
Yeah, and then you got like all 3 of them, and then after he released like all 6 parts, then that's when they did like the whole all-in-one book. Needful Things, which I heard a lot of people say is underrated. A lot of these I haven't read. I'm still working through some of these, so I can't really talk too much about them.
Underrated, like people don't talk about as much.
Yeah,
I remember the movie, and I remember there was like a dog that got skinned or something in it, and I almost hated that movie for that.
Yeah, it's like a woman's therapy pet before they were therapy pets. Yeah, and I think it it gets killed in a closet. That's a film that I would like for them to release in its entirety also, because we don't get this in the regular version. Is we find out at the very end that the 2 main characters, that their kid is going to grow up to be the next Hitler, and that's only in the new it's like in the TV version, but it's not on the DVD.
Oh wow,
might be in the book.
Revival,
don't know that one.
Sleeping Beauties, which he wrote with his son Owen King.
He has a son named Owen King?
Yes.
What was the other son's name? He has another son.
Hold on, man. Don't spoil it. I'm getting there. The big monstrous copy of The Stand.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Still my favorite Stephen King.
Oh, it's great.
Even my favorite miniseries.
Yes. Tommy Knockers.
Not my favorite Stephen King, and not my favorite miniseries.
I hated the book. I listened to it because
he wrote it well.
Under the Dome,
wasted on coke. Under the Dome, I did not. No, I did read Under the Dome. I did read Under the Dome. Did not like the miniseries.
Dark Tower #5, Wolves of the Kala.
Nice.
Which is in paperback. Unfortunately, I don't have a hardcover of that.
That would be a trade paperback.
Songs of Susanna. This is Dark Tower #6. And of course, Dark Tower #7. Dark Tower.
Nice.
Dark Tower. Dark Tower.
You could say that. No. The girl who loved Tom Gordon.
Yes,
Who's Tom Gordon?
You don't know who Tom Gordon is?
No.
You're missing out, man.
I think it was this was almost turned. They wanted him to take one F word out of this because he only says the F word one time in this book, just so they can put this in the middle school. And he said no.
Good for him.
Okay.
Stephen King's On Writing, which is his.
Okay, so I'm just going to shoot you that out. So hold it like this.
I actually have that somewhere too, but I'm not.
Is that which one's that?
Hold it up like you're displaying it here.
Hold on, I might actually have it.
Okay.
Which one
is that?
I forgot.
Is that On Writing as well?
Yeah.
I think this is his,
so this is what I consider to be one of the greatest books on writing that I've ever read. It works for novels and screenplays. And if you can find, it may be on YouTube, I'm not sure, the audiobook that Stephen King reads. Oh my God, it is amazing. I listened to it like when I was driving to California, and it's like he's talking to you. Like it's so great. Don't put that book away yet. We're gonna wait for Jonathan. Yeah, we're gonna hold it up like this, and that way I can get a screenshot of it.
When you can, a lot of people hate Stephen King's narration, but I think he does a great job at narrating. I don't know why. I think it's his voice just, and plus it's written by him, so it makes it more personal. That's just my opinion. I always love when, especially when I'm listening to a nonfiction book or something, I always love it when it's the author reading it to you, because then you get like a personal, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
no, I absolutely love it. So I would rather listen to the audiobook than actually read the book, but I've done both. So
I listen to a lot of audio anymore. So a good chunk of these Stephen King books I've actually listened to more than read.
Yeah, I got so I don't know, maybe you continue, but keep that book out. Let Jonathan find his
so
book.
This is one of his nonfiction books. He did 2, I believe. This and Dan Macabre, I think it's called.
Yeah, Dance Macabre. Dance Macabre. Yeah.
I knew I was getting it wrong. I'll just put this to the side. We have Cell. This is the book that he left rehab for. He stopped in the middle of, went to rehab, got cleaned up, and then came back and finished the book. There's a point in the book where I forget, is the guard says, my shift is over, I'll be back. And
I'll be back.
And that's exactly where he left off. Went to rehab, got cleaned up, then came back and finished the book, and that's why this book is a complete failure.
Yeah, the movie was awful with John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson. Did you not find it?
I have not seen.
Speaking of failure, yeah, I can't. It's somewhere here. I've got a billion books too,
all right.
and
well,
I just haven't...
okay. Well, we're good, so we're fine.
Okay. Christine.
Yes.
Christine. And another copy of it.
Huge. That is huge.
So
look at that.
Ridiculous.
Massive, man. That's what she said.
That's what Stephen King said.
Oh, he did.
Apparently. The Outsider.
Don't know that one.
I have not. This is one of his newer ones. Almost done. Almost done.
I did find a freaking Star Wars book that I didn't know I had.
Hey, that's a whole different video.
I
don't know that one either.
I'm glad I got that.
This was garbage.
Oh wow.
Oh, it's a novella. I think he was trying to do his Richard Bachman book thinner and trying to do a different version. Yeah, and if you don't like your politics in your books, please avoid this.
Oh, we definitely know what side he's on, that's for sure.
Oh, we know. We know.
Oh, yeah.
And
we got Twitter for that.
I have 2 of his hard case crimes. I have The Colorado Kid.
Ah, okay. I know that one, yeah.
And Joyland. I do not have Later, which is his latest one that he did with the hard case crime.
What's it called? Later?
What's that?
Did you say it was called Later?
Later, yeah.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah. So Later is his latest.
No.
As far as those books go.
The last in the hard, his latest in the hard crime, yeah. All right, so remember when I said, don't get ahead of me when I said Stephen King has a son?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen Owen King. But nobody knows that his other son, Joe Hill, writes.
That's right.
I know that.
And he looks just like his dad.
Because I've always laughed at his name, Joe King.
Well, he didn't want to write off his dad's success, so that's why he went with that is
Hill,
him right
but
there.
That's funny because he is Joe King, and he's Joe King.
Yeah, they've written together
like he wrote it. They wrote a short. I don't know if it was a short story or a novella called "In the Tall Grass."
They also
we reviewed that. We reviewed that.
Yeah, Jonathan and I reviewed that. We liked it.
That was
I think they also did one called Ride together, which was their version of Duel. Instead of a truck, it's a motorcycle. That might have only been audio. That could have been just audio. That's the only way I've been able to find it.
Nosferatu.
Ah, okay.
This is probably my favorite out of the. I only have 2 of his novels, but I listened to his first 3. And
I like that he has his own career.
Yeah, and then this is one of his short story collections called Strange Weather.
Nice.
Is it Strange Weather?
Is Strange Weather.
Strange Weather.
So, did you see it?
Yeah, it's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, like it.
So yeah, that is all the books. Now for Blu-rays, I only have a couple. These are not in alphabetical order, so I have The Stand.
The better version, yes.
Yes. Maybe not the best movie ever, but I've watched it so many times. I'm kind of nostalgic at this point. The Secret Window.
It's a fun film. It's a good movie. I liked it.
Oh, I liked it. I mean, it's maybe not the greatest movie ever, but
I lost my virginity after that movie. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was hanging out with a girl. We watched that movie, then made sweet love while the the sky was, while the, storm was happening.
Wow, little bit of info about Mr. Moody there.
Yeah, I don't really talk about that much. I mean, it just doesn't pop up, no pun intended, but in conversations, but yeah, I was watching that movie because, I owned it, on DVD, and was like, I've never seen it before. Let's watch this. And the girl was like, yeah, I've never seen it either. And she had a thing for Johnny Depp. So
what woman doesn't have a thing for Johnny Depp?
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard.
We almost said
Amber Heard don't count. You know that.
Oh Lord.
So The Shining.
Of course.
Little hot take. I am not a fan of The Shining. I'm not a fan of the movie. I'm not a fan of the book. So.
Okay.
The book? What?
I did not like the book.
I think he said that earlier too. It's like his least favorite book or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's.
What? No.
I don't know. It's
Let's get over.
I don't know. I think maybe the audiobook ruined it for me because the dude spoke so soullessly. It's not even funny. So
I guess that'll do it for you, but I don't know. I love the movie. I thought the movie was amazing. I know John prefers who did it, like
miniseries.
It wasn't Anthony Michael Hall, was it? Who took over? Who played the Johnny Depp role? Not Johnny Depp, but the Jack Nicholson role.
Steven Weber.
Steven Weber
from Wings.
Yeah.
Both the guys from Wings were in Stephen King movies. So, but speaking of audio books, the best audiobook I've ever heard was The Mist. And it came out a long time ago, but I don't know if this is the one that Donald heard or not, but it's a giant advertisement for food and drinks. So they're in the supermarket. It's done more like a play, and I heard it on cassette. And they're in the supermarket with all the stuff happening around them, and the guy goes, "Man, I'm hungry. Want to pass me some of those Doritos, Cooler Ranch? Oh yeah, these." And you hear the bag rustle, and he brings it to him.
I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, pop it open. Man, these are really good. Why don't you hand me one of those Diet Cokes while you're over there? I heard they're refreshing. And that's the whole thing, is a giant advertisement for food. And it might be like just for Coke or Pepsi or whoever it is. But yeah,
I need to track this down now.
I might have it. I might have found it. It could be on YouTube.
That sounds ridiculous.
It's pretty funny. So
I want to hear this now. I also have Salem's Lot, but not the super awesome.
I mean, the Steelbook's cool looking. I don't know. I never picked that one up. So when I saw the other one at like Best Buy or something, I was like, I gotta grab that.
Yeah, I also want to get the movie. Salem's Lot, the movie. Have that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I think I got it at Big Lots. I don't know where I got it. I know I got it in LA because I got so excited. I was in Van Nuys and I went home and had to watch it, because I'd heard so many great things about it. The movie I don't have, I have
Pet
somewhere.
Sematary.
Is that
the original
4K or
this is the original?
Is that 4K or Blu-ray?
This is Blu-ray.
Okay.
So which one? I was gonna put the remake in my stack.
I also have the remake.
So let's discuss that for a second.
I haven't watched it, so I do not know nothing. But I've heard it's terrible. And
I liked it.
I didn't mind it. I just didn't, because I have an affinity for the original so much that it's really hard for me to see anything. Awesome. I know, which is funny because everybody likes Miko Hughes in that and thought he was great in the first, in that, and then later they hate him in Wes Craven's New Nightmare. They're like, that kid is so annoying. I'm like, it's the same kid. It's just
he's older. Well, I like there is the twist in the remake, which I liked, but the problem was then they started to just do it on like all the Stephen King movies that were like remakes. So it's like, yeah, you know, it worked with, which might have been the remake of Pet Sematary was the first one to do it. And then they just, each one that kept coming out, it was like, oh, now the twist is with a woman now instead of a man, or now it's a dog instead of a cat, or something like that. And it just got
that's a little annoying because you know, and I don't remember the remake that much, but I do remember I didn't absolutely hate it. I just wasn't. It just didn't do anything for me like the original did, and I think sometimes that'll happen with remakes, that unless the movie completely blows me away, that I'm just always gonna still like the original better. You know.
Oh yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, I also have the miniseries of it with the awesome slipcover.
I do. Nice. I love that slipcover.
I did not buy this originally with the slipcover, so this is the original one. So I don't know if this comes with this one or not.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. I'll show you.
Because I bought this first, and then I bought the slipcover separately.
Okay, so yours looks like that? Yeah, mine looks the same.
Okay, I didn't know if it was the same, because it looks like
I think it's the same one. Does yours have like commentary and that's it? It just includes commentary.
It probably does. With Tommy Lee Wallace and
and the
Dennis
actors.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, John Ritter's in that comment. Oh God, man, I gotta listen to that commentary because I want to hear John Ritter's voice. I miss him.
Also got It Chapter 1.
It's interesting. They do have a double feature of that on Blu-ray. You could get 1 and 2 together.
I bought one part 1 and part 2. Yeah. I never did that. I guess I did the same thing that Donald did.
Yeah, I didn't hate part 2, but I didn't like some of the changes that they made. I mean,
well, they still had to cut out the gangbang in both of them, so.
You really want to see 13-year-old boys?
I am a Stephen King purist. I want that book translated exactly the way it is to the big screen. Otherwise, why did he write it that way?
Because he was on drugs.
I think you're just trying to kiss Stephen King's ass because he's going to be listening to this podcast going, oh, they're talking about me. They better say good things. You know, John Ward's talking about, oh, he likes my books the way that they are. Oh, just like me. Oh,
So that's why this will get the thumbs up.
And this will get the thumbs up, and then he'll call you and say, John, I need you to adapt my next one because you get me.
That's right. And he'll also put out on Twitter, he'll go, instead of, this is a real movie for Shark Exorcist, he'll write, this is a great podcast.
Yeah. It's funny because he mentions both Shark Exorcist and Sharks of the Corn. So I'm surprised he's never done his own shark story yet. I say yet because, I have that too. Stephen King's.
Yeah.
Sharks of the Corn.
I thought I would just throw it in here just because it's funny. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the film. It's almost 2 hours. And
it's way too long.
But the idea is funny, and Stephen King is funny.
You reviewed it with us, right? When we did Sharks, the Shark Attack Sunday, right? Or did you not?
Maybe I don't remember, but
I remember I did. I mean, we did that. So I don't know if we did that with Madeline or you or both. I don't know. By the way, Shark Attack Sunday coming back this summer, baby. Get ready.
Oh, thanks for promoting yourself on my show.
That's what I'm here for, man.
What else you got, Donald?
That's everything.
That's everything? Okay, nice. Well, that's a good
question. I got a Pennywise.
Oh,
which is cute.
What a cutie pie.
Yeah. So he sits on my shelf.
My niece would be terrified. My niece hates clowns. I don't get it. And one of my friends was telling me that her love for horror started when her mom put like an inflatable clown, like creepy clown, in her room, and she would just stare at it every night, and didn't scare her at all. There you go.
That's funny. All right.
Future Psychopaths of America.
So we already saw, I was going to show this on writing, which is, I think.
Yeah, but grab yours and then I'm going to go.
Okay. So. Wait, I always have a hard time doing this. Hold on. Okay, there we go.
That should be
I've got the
thumbnail.
one that John has somewhere.
Well,
and I loved it. I loved reading it. Like, it's
you might have been
searching
book. For yours when I mentioned to Donald. If you have not heard it, you should hear the audio commentary. Not audio commentary, the audio book for this, because it's read by Stephen King, and it's one of the greatest things I've ever heard. It's like Steve Martin when he wrote his book Born Standing Up. He does the audio book, and it's just like,
nice.
Fuck, it's so good because he does it.
Right.
And so, yeah, so if you can find the audio book of this, I highly recommend it.
Believe it or not, Stephen King's actually done a few of his own audiobooks. I think he's done that one, and I want to say Needful Things was another one he's done. And then I believe it was the one that was like a audio only. I think it was called Blood and Smoke or something like that.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He read that one.
Yeah. And then just showed Stephen King's Sharks of the Corn. So we got that, which is we'll give a shout out to Tim Ritter. So
Tim Ritter,
and it's SRS Ron Bonk. So
Ron Bonk gets a shout out.
Yeah, so I don't think anybody else on here we should shout out. I think it's just those two.
Well, I like Rebecca Reinhardt who's in it.
Since you're showing that off, John, might as well throw mine in there too.
God, now I have to grab mine.
I'm sorry.
He keeps disappearing into Stephen King's face.
Stephen King ate Jonathan Moody.
It did. I mean, Cujo was coming after him too. He was getting weird looks from Carrie over there. Looks like Shawshank Redemption there. I forget his name in the movie. Is just not having it. It's like he's just bored with the movie.
He's ticked. He's ticked, John.
He may be if he doesn't come back.
No, it's funny.
Are you letting me down? Oh, okay. All right. So everybody here, hold it up. Make sure it's not in the light. Okay. All right, there we go. Cool.
So we can either have one or the other, whichever one you want to put up as the.
Yeah. Well, we already have a thumbnail made, but I figured I would just do these and then maybe just put them on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, just for the fun of it.
Just for the fun of it.
Donald, you were saying something?
Oh yeah. You were saying about Shawshank Redemption. One of the things Stephen King was telling a story about how when he moved down to Florida, he was doing some shopping, and this little old lady looks up at him and goes, "I know who you are. You're Stephen King. You write all those nasty horror stories. I don't like those kind of stories. I like uplifting things like Shawshank Redemption." He's like, "I wrote that." No, you didn't.
That's funny.
I guess it's uplifting. I mean, if uplifting is getting boned in the ass, while you're doing laundry or committing suicide because you can't handle living in the real world when you get out of prison.
Yeah.
So, but that's another case of course, that's Frank Darabont is changing the novella, because in the novella, it's like different wardens and it's different times. And I thought it was a very smart idea to take everything and just make it like, one warden, and kind of how they did that I thought it was a better idea than what he did. So, and then I got the Stephen King's Children of the Corn. The same thing that Moody had.
The Corn, the same one I had, yeah.
Yep, 25th anniversary edition. So, love my Children of the Corn. And then I got the Arrow version of the original Children of the Corn. That's a pretty new one for me. So, and then I actually just watched this the other night because I did watch the remake, and it's Children of the Corn Runaway, which I really like. It's directed by John Gulager. Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah.
I think Gulager is correct.
How many Children of the Corn movies were there?
son, who
Clue
is doing like the Piranha movies and Piranha.
Yeah, he did Feast 1, 2, 3. He did Piranha
3DD.
3 double D is how you're supposed to say it, like boobs.
3DD is what I say.
And he's also acting in some stuff too. But I really enjoyed this. They got a solid casting on this little girl who's like one of the most creepiest girls I've seen. And normally I don't get creeped out, but she was great in this.
John Gulager, I was friends with him on Facebook. I wonder if I still am.
I think I still am. I'd like to interview him. But it's interesting. It's almost kind of more like a drama than like horror drama than it is just flat out horror. But since I have this, because this is what, so I did see the new Children of the Corn. It sucked. It was horrible. And it's done through Shudder, but it's obviously they did not get permission to make it because Stephen King now owns the rights. The copyright on the film is 2020, but it came out 2023. And
which one? For Children of the Corn?
The new Children of the Corn. They didn't use Gatlin. They used a different name, and they only said "He Who Walks." So there is no "He Who Walks Behind the Rose" in this. So they obviously did not have the rights to do it. And Jonathan,
where did you see it, by the way?
Foot Locker. And we do see He Who Walks, and Jonathan and I reviewed a movie called The Hollow, and it was basically like a wicker monster that was all CGI. This was cornstalk monster. So it was generic. When the evil preacher girl is calling for He Who Walks, it's a giant cornstalk, like a whole bunch of them put together in a CGI monster. So it's not demonic. It's nothing like that. And that's who.
What does that have to do with Children of the Corn?
It doesn't, because they didn't have the rights. And the whole thing is about, and I might be getting the letters wrong, GMOs, like the chemicals and everything that go into like corn and all that stuff. So the whole beginning of the movie is about them discussing the crops and about how the government is destroying the crops, and that they have to do these like subsidiaries. I can't pronounce correctly, but they have to work like with another company to where they're
subsidiaries.
Thank you. And they're going to destroy all the corn, and that's what's going to get them their money. And the children don't want them to destroy the corn.
Of course not.
And the girl, there's the two girls. There's the girl who's supposed to kind of be like Isaac. She's no good. She's not very good. Then there's the girl who looks like she's supposed to be Malachi. In the pictures, I thought that's what it was. They just kind of did like the gender swap. No, she's a good person. She wants to go to college. She wants to learn about, like all the chemicals with corn and all that type of stuff. That's what she wants to do, because she wants to get out of the town that is not named Gatlin.
Wow, that's funny. That's weird to like think like that's what our future is, like people who want kids who want to fucking, deal with corn.
And the film reminded me of, there is a movie called Corn with a K with Jenna Malone.
I heard of that, yeah.
Which is what, and I rented it thinking, because it showed it like a crazy cow, and then it had like the toxic like symbol on it. And and I thought, okay, it must be a horror movie. It isn't. It's all about the grain. It's all about the chemicals that cows eat.
I thought it was about the band Corn. They spelled it with a K.
No, they do, but that's not.
We don't talk about them. Is that it?
They don't. They do not talk about the band.
They don't. John doesn't want to talk about Coming Undone.
That's right. Thank you. So it
is. Or the Freak on a Leash.
That's right. No, I like the band Corn, but the movie is, my God, is it? And sadly, it has Bruce Spence in it, who plays like a preacher. and people would probably know him as the gyro captain from the Road Warrior. He was also in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
I was a Mad Max there.
Yeah, and he was also like the lead, like the Wraith, one of the Wraiths that was in Lord of the Rings. He was the main one that's on the dragon that's flying, like the Ring Wraith, I guess is what they're called. So basically,
he was in Dark City. Holy shit, cool.
He elevates. He's one of those actors that elevates. So it's like, oh, Bruce Spence is in this, and then of course the movie, he's the best thing in it, and the rest of the movie sucks. It's horrible. It's like there really isn't even a massacre. They dig a pit, and they sacrifice like a goat, and they start painting all the roots red with like the blood, and then they take all the parents and put them into the pit, and then they use the bulldozers that they were going to do to kill the crops to push dirt over the parents. This is awful. This isn't even one of those things where I think if I watch it on a second viewing, I'm going to like it.
Why hasn't Stephen King sued?
He probably said you can make this, but you just can't make it the story.
But so they still use the name Children of the Corn?
Yeah, I mean, I would.
Yeah, because it's not copyrighted.
Okay, I mean, wow.
Why is that trademarked?
Because see, like this is based on the story Children of the Corn by Stephen King.
Yeah.
Right.
But this one wasn't. Stephen King's name is not on this anywhere. Mm-hmm. It is really, really bad. And like an idiot, I'm going to probably freaking buy it because I have to add it to my Children of the Corn collection because I'm a freaking moron.
Well, they even, I mean, so was this even put out to theaters or something or what?
Yeah, I played it at a drive-in for a week, maybe 2 at most.
Why didn't you go? Well, you didn't go, but
no, because I heard it was coming out on video in like May. So I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't. I've heard it's bad. I'll just wait. Yeah. And then it ended up on Footlocker, and I went, oh, okay, I'll just watch it there. But I'm probably going to buy it anyway. So.
Hey, by the way, thank you for this. You know, give me that name earlier before or whatever. Got to watch Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh yeah.
You know, That's the only way. I'm glad I saw it that way. I skimmed through it, but I had to interview somebody from it, and she was wonderful. She was one of the best things in the movie. But
yeah, I've heard it's bad.
You know, it wasn't the greatest movie, but you know, that happens, sadly.
Yeah, I've heard stuff.
And they're doing Peter Pan next, a Peter Pan horror movie.
It will probably be better than Disney's Peter Pan and Wendy. The politically correct woke Peter Pan and Wendy.
Did that come out yet?
No, it's coming soon. So it's going directly to Disney Plus.
So it's a Disney Plus original.
So it looks awful. But then now you guys had The Shining, so I have Dr. Sleep.
Shit, I do have Dr. Sleep somewhere.
That's okay. You don't have to show all of them right now because we're going to do this again. Probably.
Wait, do I?
Next year or something.
I might not.
This is certified fresh.
And yeah, it did really well.
Include director's cut.
If you can trust that certified fresh. But in this case, yes. But
as I say on my other videos, if it means anything to you, I loved this. I thought it was once again Mike Flanagan combining the book, The Shining, or actually the movie The Shining, the miniseries The Shining, and the Dr. Sleep book. So he did like a perfect movie version of all of those combined. Because as we know,
Mike Flanagan is probably one of the better directors of today now. I mean, I think he's very loyal to the fan base and very loyal to the material.
He also did. What were you saying, Donald?
I was just saying that he's very loyal to the material, the source material. He doesn't, and if he does go off and does do his own thing, he's being respectful about it. He's not being, oh, I'm just gonna change it just to change it.
Right. No, for sure. He also did Gerald's Game.
Yes.
And did another one, I thought.
Gloving.
I'm surprised that he did Gerald's Game that well, since the whole book is a woman completely naked. So he did a good job of just keeping her basically in like her underwear.
Nightgown or something. Was she in a nightgown or something?
No, I think that she's naked, because she in the book she's naked.
I haven't seen the movie, so
yeah, in the movie
I haven't even read the book, so
yeah, she's clothed in the movie, but in the book and stuff, it gets really detailed about women, and she even talks about, because she's been there for days, about how her VJ smells, and it actually is attracting a dog in, like a hungry, like kind of like stray dog in. And because I guess like the doors open or it gets open. Or something.
They have the dog, and that's a big part of the movie for Gerald's Game, but they don't talk about her JJ.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I love this. I think Mike Flanagan is freaking awesome. So I'm really looking forward to The Gunslinger. And then we have something that you guys kind of showed in a way. This is the Carrie 2-pack that has the original and the new one with Chloe in it. So
they're in development for another Carrie and Christine.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I mean, do they need to do another Carrie like now?
No.
Like
no, because this one even had like a petition to have the director's cut released. So no, we don't. So
the one
I can understand maybe another Christine, but because there's only been one Christine.
But none of them are good. Nice as they're both on 2 separate discs, so that's good. Yeah. And then
have you seen the miniseries?
Yes. It follows the book fairly closely, except for the ending, where it turned into a pilot for a TV show, which is exactly what it was made for. It was made for a TV series, because at the end, Carrie doesn't die, and she leaves with Chris to go to another town to start all over again. It was a pilot for a TV show. They did change the beginning of it, which was one, of course, because it's TV, you don't see all the girls naked, but in the shower. But of course, you don't see them naked in the new one either. But
damn,
yeah. And instead of saying plug it up, like in the De Palma version, I think they say something like stuff it. They say something totally different. And I'm like, I wonder if that has something to do with television rules.
Probably.
Probably sounds like it.
Yeah. So, but it's not bad, because it does have like the rocks falling from the sky, and it's done kind of in different chapters. So it's not bad, but it's not great.
Yeah.
Now Donald was all about the Dark Tower, man. Dark Tower, the movie.
We don't talk about them.
I like the casting. I thought the casting was good. It's beautifully directed. It's beautifully shot. The effects look great. But I don't know why the director decided to make a prequel to the books. And he said it was like a combination of a bunch of stuff from the books put into one movie. And then if people liked this movie, he would then continue the series. It's like, why don't you just make the book? Why are you...
Should have just made the Gunslinger, or he could have took the flashback scenes from Wizards and Glass, because Wizard and Glass was the prequel, is kind of Roland's backstory.
He just didn't. But I hated it when I first saw it. I rewatched it, and I actually enjoyed it, removing it from the books. So that if you look at it all on your own, and you know, Isra Elba, I think is how you say his name, and Matthew McConaughey look like they're having a great time.
I thought it was Idris or something.
Idris, I can never pronounce his name wrong. You pronounce things better than I do, so
I have to give it another chance. I don't really remember the movie that well, but I remember being a little ticked off about it. I haven't read Dark Tower. I haven't read the entire Dark Tower series, so I cannot specify if you know any of it was faithful or not. So, but
it is to certain sections of the book series. That's the thing.
What I've been told about that is the director took the box set, looked at the back, and read the synopsis of all 5 books, all 6, 7 books, and said, "Let's make a movie based on that."
Pretty much, yeah. But McConaughey does a good. He's not Randall Flagg in this. He's one of the aliases, but he is Randall Flagg. But he's one of the different guys. And I'll just say Elba. And never did I hear. And I don't know why people have. You hear about this stuff all the time. The gunslinger's white, but yet when he took over the role, nobody said anything. Nobody had a problem with it. Like. Maybe because it wasn't thrown in their face. He does a great job as the gunslinger. I would love to see him come back. And he's a great actor to begin with.
Honestly, people weren't having any problem with him taking over as James Bond.
No, he's a good-looking guy. He's a good actor. You know,
I think everybody kept saying if there's anybody of a person of color that's going to play James Bond or play, you know, the gunslinger, play these roles, it would be Idris Elba. So he's one of those guys I would totally recommend people. But I haven't seen that one. I want to. I just haven't.
Yeah,
I've got too many fucking movies to watch in my life. I'll get to it.
Don't we all? Yeah, see, that's him right there. Yeah, does not look like the movie.
And I will say, this has probably got the best opening line ever.
Well, now you have to say it.
Yeah.
The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed.
Nice.
It just makes you want to read it. I gotta put this down before I want to read
it. Now, this is my favorite Stephen King movie. Well, my favorite Stephen King miniseries is The Stand. And I've even told Mick Garris that. And it's The Mist. My God, this ending is amazing. Stephen King even says it's better than his ending, which it is. It extends his ending. And it is the novella. I mean, it is so close to the novella. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's great to see some of the pre-Walking Dead people in this too. The people that always show up in Frank Darabont's movies. I love this film. I think this is so good. And I don't care what people say. That ending is so heart-wrenching that I mean,
I was so ticked off about that ending whenever. I mean, not ticked off to the point to where I hated the movie, but it was just like, you could have just waited 5 more minutes and
I just saw that the Shermanator's in it, so I might want to check it out.
You've never seen The Mist?
No.
Skip the TV show, but only watch this.
Okay.
Good.
But yeah, was it the guy who played the Shermanator and Sherman or whatever in the American Pie movies?
Oh yeah.
Is in that, you know.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
Red hair guy.
A bag. Yeah, he's like a bag boy.
Yeah.
And and there is the gunslinger reference is the Thomas Jane is a poster painter. So he paints posters for Hollywood in the movie. And one of the posters that's on the canvas is the Dark Tower.
Nice.
Like the book version of the Dark Tower. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And then Jonathan showed this, but mine is the DVD. So Maximum Overdrive.
Maximum Overdrive.
Who made who?
It was just an excuse to play AC/DC all the time.
Great soundtrack.
That truck. Some people have like that, like the thing, what is it called?
The Green Goblin.
Yeah, the Green Goblin. There's this guy. He used to be friends with me, and then somehow we got unfriended, and then he like re-added me. I just haven't re-added him. I think his name's like Tim Shockey or something. But he owns that, and so he brings them to these Harkoviches. I met him one time. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome! Such a cool,
That's cool.
Such a cool thing. Oh, I love it. But yeah, I want my own Green Goblin.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I decided to keep the used DVD since the Blu-ray was not uncut. So it's like I'm just getting the same movie.
Oh shit, for real though.
Oh, the DVD's uncut?
No, none of this stuff is uncut. The DVD, no. I kept this because it's the same version that's on the Vestron Blu-ray.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So wait, yeah, why didn't they? I mean,
they can't.
Did they not?
It doesn't exist anymore. They can't find it. It's gone.
I was so.
It's probably in Stephen King's house.
I want to reiterate. I did say the audio commentary was with Jonah Ray and Ryan Turk, but there's also another audio commentary with Tony Magistral, author of Hollywood Stephen King. So apparently, Stephen King enthusiast. Sad that they never got like who directed. So Stephen King directed. So it's
on cocaine. On a
why
lot
didn't
of cocaine.
I don't know why he never did his own commentary track for it.
Because he hates this movie. He doesn't like it. He had no idea what he was doing. Look at any interview that he does on YouTube that mentions Maximum Overdrive. He doesn't like it.
Does he like try to skip the question or something about like?
No, I think he answers it. He just doesn't like the movie. He just didn't do a good job. He didn't know what he was doing. I mean, yeah. Well, and speaking of a movie where
he was getting to the point to where he didn't even remember writing Cujo. That's how bad he was drugged up.
No,
yeah. He said that he was just doing coke left and right on the set of Maximum Overdrive. So that
sucks.
Yeah, there's plenty of interviews that say that. So, but speaking of a movie that somebody had no idea how to direct, The Mangler.
The Robert Englund one.
Yeah, directed by Tobe Hooper. So this is there's 3 of them, and I own all 3. And I had not read Night Shift yet. So we went to go see this in the theater, and I looked at my friends and I'm like, wouldn't it be awesome if the Mangler came to life and started walking around? Because it's for clothes. It's like a big like pressing thing. And it did. All of a sudden at the end it came to life and started killing people. And I was so happy. So happy. The Mangler, there it is. The Mangler.
The Mangler reborn.
Yeah, so it's pretty bad, but I love it. It also has Ted Levine. So, but he doesn't have his penis between his legs in this movie.
That's good.
Yeah. But I love The Mangler. It's so awful. It's great. And then
I'll have to track that one down.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. And then I knew that you guys probably wouldn't be doing sequels, so I brought more of those out. So we got Pet Sematary 2.
I do have Pet Sematary 2. I just don't have it here.
So the director, Mary Lambert, her career, she had a career before Pet Sematary, but that like elevated her. And like she became like an A-list director. And then she goes, hey, you know what? I'm going to direct Pet Sematary 2. And she did. And now she's a B-movie director. And she did that Bloody Mary one for the Urban Legends. So one film made her career, the other film destroyed her career.
By the way, I totally was it Ted Levine? You were mentioning him. And I was like, wasn't he? Yep. And he was the captain in Monk.
Oh, okay. I never watched it.
I don't know if you ever saw that show, Monk, but it's
I know of it, but
yeah, Tony Shalhoub.
I'm actually watching it right now.
Are you?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, so the captain in it is the guy from Silence of the Lambs who has his dick between his legs and shit.
I would fuck
his little dance and shit.
Would you fuck me? I would fuck me.
I'd fuck me, yeah. That kind of that guy. But it's so funny because then I see him in the show that my freaking mom watches, and I'm like, this just goes to show you that like acting is acting. You know what I mean? You'd be one really fucked up character and then you'd be,
well, yeah, there's a movie called Shoot to Kill, and it's Tom Berenger and Sidney Poitier.
Mm-hmm.
And there's I think it's like 4 or 5 other guys are with them, and it's all like the serial killers from like 10 years back. So it's like anybody who was a serial killer. So I think it's like Tom Clancy, and then it's the guy who was the killer in Dirty Harry, who was like the assassin, who was like the shooter.
So Tom Clancy.
Not Tom, Clancy Brown. I'm sorry, Clancy Brown. And
say Tom Clancy. That's interesting.
Yeah, the author
choice.
And I was gonna say Tom Clancy as a serial killer now.
No, well, according to his wife, maybe. But that's a great one. Shoot to Kill. If you want to see all these old school killers in one movie together, which is very intentionally done, because you have no idea who the killer is because they've all played killers.
Nice.
So, but speaking of, and I made a comment about this a long time ago on Facebook. If you thought Highlander 2 was bad, you have not seen Lawnmower Man 2, Job's War.
Yeah.
Wowzers. I do have the Blu-ray from Shout Factory that has the theater version and the extended cut. The extended cut is pretty good. The theater version kind of sucks. But I had to own this. I had to own Lawnmower Man 2 because it is so awful. And it's got that horrible kid from Prehysteria that's in this. And I think he was also in the first Lawnmower Man 2. God, this is awful. This is so awful.
I've not seen it.
Oh,
I've
wow.
not seen it either.
Oh, wow.
I had no real interest in it.
Wow.
But all right.
I mean,
when I hear people say something's bad, I kind of want to buy it just to watch it.
It's worth watching because it's bad.
If you're a completist like John, you have to have it.
Well, the nice thing about this is that it's it's Patrick Bergen is in it, but it's Matt Fuhrer is Job, and he was in The Stand. He played Trash Can Man. And he was also in Dawn of the Dead, the remake of Dawn of the Dead. So
he's also in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Was he in the original Stand, or?
Yeah, he's Trash Can Man.
Trash Can Man was in the original. It's been a long time since I've seen.
He's on the little golf cart, and he goes off and he's blowing up all the stuff, and then he finds the bomb, and as he's taking it back, he's melting. But he's. I like it because he's a multiple Stephen King guy. And I love when actors come back and do Stephen King stuff.
And he's also in National Lampoon's Senior Trip.
Okay, these are not Stephen King things or close to them.
I don't care. I love Matt Fuhrer.
Like how Kathy, so do I. Max Headroom. And Kathy Bates has been in 3 of them. So Academy Award winner Kathy Bates loves Stephen King. She was Misery, Dolores Claiborne, and The Stand. So,
I think honestly that might also, even if she wasn't a fan of his, or whatever, she was probably want to be in it because, like, Misery did so well for her. Like that pretty much made her career. At that
she made
time.
a household name after that. Yeah.
Yeah, so like she kind of owes her life to Stephen King, like her career to him. So like she might be in a lot of his movies because she really enjoyed being in a movie that pretty much just completely like took her career off.
And then she got naked in About Schmidt.
She did. I did
fully
not
naked.
Watch that.
She got into a hot tub with Jack Nicholson.
I
Fully
did not watch that.
Good for her. Good for Kathy Bates.
All right.
So now
I didn't even realize that there was a Dolores Claiborne movie.
Yeah, it's good.
What? Yeah, I know. I knew
Jason Lee is in it. Yeah, it's good. So now this one is similar to the Blu-ray that I have. So it's Carrie 1976, The Rage Carrie 2, and Carrie 2002.
So it's got all 3 of them. The Carrie set.
Yeah, so it just doesn't have so it's the original, the sequel, and then the miniseries.
Yeah, it doesn't have the remake.
Yeah. So I liked Carrie. I like The Rage Carrie too. It's not great, but I enjoyed it as far as
who was like the new girl in that? Like who was the
your buddy Jason London is in it. I know that you're a bit Amy Irving is back in it as Sue. No, I said Chris on the other one. Sue. It's Sue and Carrie are the ones from the miniseries that go into the TV Alleged TV series. Emily
Who played Carrie? Who played Carrie?
Burgell? Did she play? That would be. Well, which one are you talking about? The miniseries or Carrie 2?
Carrie 2.
Carrie 2, it says Emily Burgell.
I'm looking her up on IMDb. I can't, like,
It's directed by
Kat she
Shea.
played Rachel Lang in that.
Oh, she's the first one in the credits.
I know. That's weird. I don't think she was Carrie, was she?
Oh, no. She wouldn't be Carrie in Carrie 2. She kept in Carrie 2, it's her stepsister.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same father but different mother. So she has a different name. Yeah. So
is it the father who passes the gene then?
Yeah, that's the whole thing with the mother, is that the guy was selling, what was it, like Bibles, like door to door or something, or encyclopedias, and that's how the mom got knocked up. And so that's kind of, I guess the idea was that the dad would just knocked up another chick.
Ooh, I wonder how many chicks he's knocked up.
Well, we never got Carrie 3. So but yeah, so that's
Carrie 3. Carrie 3 wasn't on the path of the beam.
No.
It would have been called Another Rage,
or just upset. Carrie 3
or offended.
Oh God, no, that would be what it is today.
And then we got
Toxic, Carrie 3.
So this is what I think are the best versions of all of the movies. So it has my favorite, Stephen King in giant letters, The Shining. So this is my preferred version of The Shining. It, with Tim Curry, my preferred version of It, and my preferred version of Salem's Lot with God damn it, Rob Lowe. So, and Rob Lowe, of course, was in The Stand. So these are, once again, multiple people in other movies. This follows the book. There are direct scenes from the book in this. I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe how close this is to the book. So it's much better than I think Tobe Hooper's one, which has really nothing to do with the book. Kind of. And then I got, I'm so proud of this. Firestarter 2 movie collection. So it has the Drew Barrymore Firestarter, but it has Firestarter 2 rekindled.
I didn't even know they did a Firestarter 2.
It was a Sci-Fi Channel movie that was in like a 3-hour time slot. It is awful. I said the only way.
3 hours?
It is, well, without commercials, it's like 2 hours and 30 minutes, something like that, 2 hours and 40. It is, so she's an adult now, and where in Firestarter, Rayburn, you know, who was what's his face from the Changeling, George C. Scott, horribly miscast, but it's now Malcolm McDowell.
Nice.
Is Rayburn, and he has the eye that's all messed up because she like set him on fire. It is so bad. I said, no, I got to own it. This is the only way I'm going to own it is on this.
Was it Dennis Hopper's in it? And
yeah,
right now, and
it's got some known people in it, which is kind of weird.
And it's directed by the guy who did She's All That. So that's really funny. Yeah. But yeah, no wonder it didn't do so well. I don't.
Well, and the funny thing is, because this is also 2002, just like the Carrie miniseries. So I guess we were going on for a while there, they were doing like Stephen King miniseries, like back to back. Yeah. But but it's funny. We got 2 Firestarters with 2 guys that are, I don't know, what would we say? They're not blackface. So what would Indian be? Indian face?
They did Indian face?
Because they're playing Native Americans. And George C. Scott is white and Malcolm McDowell is British.
Really? They did that?
Yeah, not
oh my God.
Yeah, not Native American at all.
That's rough, man.
But when they did the remake, they did get a Native American. So they did actually cast properly.
That's the one thing that they did right in the remake.
Yeah, that's yeah. And then last two, we got the uncut and uncensored Children of the Corn from Sci-Fi Channel. This is the book or the short story. Almost too good. Because in the one that has in the first one, the original one, it's a loving couple. In the short story, they hate each other. When they get back, they're getting divorced. They're bickering through the entire short story. This does it too well, to the point where you almost want to turn it off, that they are bickering so much and so
Paul would hate that.
I mean, it's like, oh my God, can you just kill each other already? But it's based off of the original screenplay that Stephen King did write for Children of the Corn that they didn't use.
Oh, wow.
And the director asked Stephen King, would you like to be involved in this since we're going to use your script? And Stephen King said, nope. And the funny thing is
very weird, like, about that shit.
Yeah. Especially Children of the Corn. He's got something about these movies. I mean, I don't know. I would assume that he gets some sort of money, for them. The funny thing with this is the guy, the guy and the girl are coming to the town. This takes place right after Vietnam. And he starts seeing the Children of the Corn as Vietnamese soldiers in the corn. So so he's killing the children, but as like the Viet Cong. It is brilliant. I love it. It is amazing. So,
but it doesn't have Linda Hamilton.
It doesn't, but the lead chick in this is hot. She's really good looking.
Yeah, Linda Hamilton I never thought was attractive, no offense. I loved her as Sarah Connor. I think she was badass, but I never thought she was attractive. Like, I never was, and even in the original Terminator where she's really young, I just always thought she looked plain to me and not really that good looking, but I love her,
I think that she's I mean, she's hot but not beautiful to me.
I thought you would say she's fine.
She's fine. She's fine. And then the last one, because since I did just watch the new Children of the Corn, is the 6-film set, Miramax Classics, The Children of the Corn Collection.
Nice.
I
think I have that somewhere.
I was actually going to ask, how many Children of the Corn movies were there? I knew there was a lot.
I think it's 10.
This has Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice, Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest, which has... Damn it, I'm getting so old that I can't remember people's names. What's her face, who was in Monster?
Charlize Theron.
Yes, she's one of the Children of the Corn.
Nice.
And then Children of the Corn 5, The Gathering, which has Naomi Watts.
Also one of them has Aaron Jackson in it from California Dreams, who I'm friends with.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think it's part 5.
Well, I'm about to say, Children of the Corn 5, Fields of Terror. I know that mostly because it's from the writer-director of House 2, the second story. But it also has Alexis Arquette, who is sadly not with us anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's...
dude, I have a bad story. Real quick, I have a bad story about that, but like, I gotta talk about it because I don't know where else I would. The day that she passed away, Alexis Arquette, David Arquette was at one of the conventions I was at, and he got the call, and everything there at the, on a cell phone at the convention, and had to leave early, and stuff, and head back out to be with his family. But like, I didn't know, like, all of a sudden it was like, I'm sorry everybody, but David's got to leave, blah blah blah, right? And then you hear on the news Alexis Arquette's passed away, and I'm like, fuck, that sucks, man. Like, because I liked her a lot, Is
Alexis
and I'm using
Arquette...
her right pronouns.
I was about to say, was she or he was he like a drag queen, or was he trans?
I think he was trans, but I'm not sure. Like, I can't say that for sure. Um, I I just remember her from fucking movie you hate, but Wedding Singer. So I always thought that was funny.
Yeah. He's in or she's in Dragon that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Transgender, yeah.
Okay. And then there's Children of the Corn 666, Isaac's Return, who I am friends with and have a couple conversations with him on Facebook. And then there's Children of the Corn 7, Revelation. So that's what's all in here. But to answer Donald's question, I actually have it right here. So we'll quickly go through Children of the Corn, Children of the Corn 2, Children of the Corn 3, Children of the Corn 4, Children of the Corn 5, Children of the Corn 666, Children of the Corn 7, Revelation, Children of the Corn Genesis, so that'd be 8, Children of the Corn Runaway, 9, Children of the Corn, the Sci-Fi Channel 1, so 10, and then the remake that just got released, so 11. There's 11
Okay,
films.
so I was right because I didn't count the remake, I guess, because I just but I remember there was like close to 10, so there's 11.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's a lot, and
I knew there was a lot, but I didn't know how many to be exact. Because I think I fell off after the 666 when I was like, wait, okay, how many after that? I was like, okay, there's more than 6.
Okay, so it did that thing where a lot of franchises, like they do that, where Miramax owned Children of the Corn, and when the rights would go up, and it was like, they would have like a certain amount of time to get a movie out before their rights are up, they would rush out another movie. So they would pretty much just shit out a movie, because they don't put time and energy into it, because it's like, oh shit, that's coming up, let's go and do this, when they should be like, every year let's put out another Children of the Corn, because why the fuck not?
Well, they know that people will, because they did the same thing with Hellraiser.
Right.
And it was every 10 years. So they lost the rights every 10 years. And with Children of the Corn, so Revelation was 2001, because they were just cranking them out. So like part 1 is 84, but then they waited like 10 years and then did part 2. But then that was like 93, 95, 96, 98. I was in friggin' heaven. 99. And then 2001 is where it stopped. And then 2000, so then cut to 10 years later, roughly, Children of the Corn Genesis, 2018, Runaway, 2009. Because this is now they're listing this as a remake. So 2009 would be the sci-fi one, and then 2020 was the current remake. So yeah, they did the same exact thing with Hellraiser, which I think started with I think Revelations, I think is what that one was called, with the fake Pinhead that everybody hated. It was the found footage one.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm looking at Children of the Corn Runaway, and Bob Weinstein is listed as but not Harvey, not Mr. Harvey, and not Mr. In jail now, I hope.
Yeah, I really wish Stephen King would embrace these sequels, even if they're bad. I mean, as long as it says story based on, as I'm sure he's getting money, he's got to get some sort of royalties.
Yeah.
So, but it seems like the only franchise that he's bought the title back to or story is Children of the Corn.
So did you see Genesis?
Which one? Genesis?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's directed by Joel Suizan, whatever. The guy who did Dracula, the Dracula one movies and stuff.
Yeah, and he also did like Pulse and you and I talked about him for a while on one of the videos, because it was just like, shit, this guy's done a lot.
I know, and he did Children of the Corn Genesis. So I mean, I'm guessing at that time he was, Miramax's I guess it was Dimension Films go-to guy to get these, get these movies done or whatever. And he's a great director, so I mean, I like him and stuff. I like Pulse. You know, I was very shocked with, no offense, but like, no pun intended, but I was shocked by Pulse. You know?
Well, and it also has Genesis has Billy Drago.
Nice.
So it's supposed to, I mean, I would assume it's supposed to be a prequel and how everything came about, but it's kind of difficult to see that in it. I mean, it mostly takes place at a house. There is corn. It has footage from other movies in it.
Did you say it has corn?
It has corn.
So there is corn in the movie.
There is corn in it. There is a little kid that's playing inside the house with like a truck that transports new cars, and he's playing with that, and then it cuts to the freeway, and like the truck flips over trying to kill our two main people. And Joel said that that's actually from a completely different movie.
Oh,
so like the film is almost kind of like a patchwork of different stuff because it was just meant to retain the rights. But I'll see every single one, including this new one, which I hope goes nowhere. But I'd still like to see more of them, just being more traditional.
Well, now the rights are up and stuff, so I just don't know who. Like, I think Stephen King himself owns the rights, and
he bought them a while back.
Right, so I don't know what is he gonna do?
Nothing. I think he's just gonna sit on them.
Why? Like,
that's pretty much what Stephen King does. I mean, if he gets the rights back to something, he'll just sit on it, and then no one will get it unless it's someone that he trusts. So pretty much the only person I can see getting it is Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, which he'd do a great Children of the Corn movie.
Oh, I would think so.
Yeah, he should have made the remake. Like, I would think, but then if he did, he would have had the rights, and he would have been able to do something with Isaac and Malachi, which is what, Children of the Corn is all about. So
yes, somebody when I did my post on Facebook that says that the new one is awful, somebody did a post saying, I know the director of the original one and the editor, and the director has been asked like several times to come back and direct like Children of the Corn or like a remake, and he keeps saying no. So I don't know. I would love to. I actually wrote a treatment for a film called Children of the Corn, A Town Called Hell. And Gatlin was completely cut off with like a fence, and it had barbed wire, and it was electric. Like you couldn't get in it or out of it. And it was all a ghost town. And like a film crew breaks in to make a film there about the Children of the Corn, and the children that are the actors get possessed by the Children of the Corn. And they start killing the film crew.
Okay, so just take out the Children of the Corn stuff and just call it A Town Called Hell.
I thought of that because this is actually right when part 5 came out, because I still am friends, but I used to hang out with Chris Decker, who's Fred Decker's brother. And Ethan Wiley works with Fred Decker, and he did House 2. And he also did
the second story.
And he also did Children of the Corn 5. So I asked Chris, hey, if I write this up, can you maybe give it to him to see if it could get made? But nothing ever happened to it. So
there you go. Just make your own movie that is not called Children of the Corn. Just have it be about a bunch of children. Like, I don't think Stephen King's going to be suing you on this shit, because I don't think Stephen King cares, and shit about it.
Just can't call it Gatlin.
Just don't call it Gatlin. Don't mention anything that has anything to do with Children of the Corn. You can mention that there's a town that all these kids, did all this stuff to, because that just sounds like every other horror film that has little kids. Like that, that is a thing,
Well, and in Runaway, the girl gets pregnant, she escapes the cult and is on her own, kind of going town to town, taking odd jobs, raising her son. And she does mention to like a waitress, she goes, have you ever heard of Gatlin? And the waitress is like, yeah, isn't that where all the kids murdered their parents? So Runaway still is part of that whole series because it does acknowledge it, but the new one just doesn't. And I cannot imagine a sequel being made to this one. I can't. I guess it kind of ends on a sequel ending, but I wouldn't want to see it with those characters. I mean, I just don't care about grain. And
well, I just don't like the fact that they have the children of the corn and they don't call it children of the, like they don't have any children in it, you know, like that to me. Like well, the whole point of children of the corn.
There are kids. There are kids in it, and they live in the corn. And they worship He Who Walks.
Oh.
And there is at the very end they do the preacher thing with one of the guys, one of the kids. But it's not the same. I mean, there is one character, like the dad of the girl who wants to be the scientist. He gets all scarecrowed, and they put like a thing in his, like a corn in his eye, which is from the book.
Or I hate the corn in the eye bit. Happens to me all the time.
It does. That's why you wear glasses, to avoid that.
That's where and then sometimes I just push my glasses and just
So I don't know, man. I there were like Scott Tepperman had mentioned on Facebook. He's like, I really liked it. And I did like a wow face. And
Scott, I love him to death, but he always likes the things like a lot of people don't like and everything. I'm always shocked, but I'm like, that's his taste, man. I mean, it's just like saying Madeline Deering likes everything, you know? Like, I mean, those two, I love them to death, but they're very, you know, they love the stuff like a lot of people don't, you know?
Yeah. Oh, and I do have actually right there. That's the TV series for the Dead Zone.
Nice.
That's
with that Anthony Michael Hall.
There
right?
It is. Right there.
Anthony Michael Hall, right?
Yes, that is my main reason for purchasing it. And it's Stephen King, of course, but I forgot to. Yeah, so it's the complete series. So
he's awesome.
I have season 1 of that, of the Dead Zone.
I hung out with him at a horror convention.
Look at all that.
He wears a suit to horror conventions. And I asked him this, like, because I was drunk. I asked him like 20 times. One day, the last day, I'm completely getting sober, and I ask him that question. He goes, dude, you asked me this like 20 times already, but I'll tell you again. he was
and that's when you're like, I gotta go to AA.
Yeah, well,
I'm bugging Anthony Michael Hall.
Well, you know, I hooked up a friend of mine with him because so my friend Karen was like, who's that guy in the suit that keeps staring at me? And I'm like, I don't know, let's go find out. I'm the perfect wingman, I swear, you know, like, you know, or whatever. So we walk up, they start talking, I leave. And I go hang out with my friends who are whatever. I let her do her thing with the guy. And then later I thought she hated me because I didn't see her after that. And no, she loved me.
Oh,
because
there you go.
I helped her hang out with Anthony Michael Hall. You know.
Did they fight evil because evil dies tonight?
No, because this is pre-Evil Dies Tonight.
Well,
I
got to give this a second chance because I turned it off in the first episode. It just wasn't the book. I'm like, and I understand it's a TV series, so right. like the entire first season is the book, and he's going to meet up with the guy who's going to become president who destroys the world, who Martin Sheen played. He's probably going to meet him in the final episode, and that would be like the cliffhanger. But it was too different. And then but they did show the scene of him crashing in the ice. So when he was a kid, which kind of started the ability, was that he had an ice skating accident. They like that he went under the ice. So that was in there. So I don't know, maybe I'll give it a second chance. So I like him. I mostly got it for him because I remember he was on when they did the True Hollywood Story on like the Breakfast Club or like the Brat Pack. I remember him. He was interviewed, and he's just like, I want to work. Nobody will hire me. He's like, all I want to do is act. I just want to work. And I felt so bad for the guy Because I'm like, he's cool. Why wouldn't somebody hire him? He's a good actor. So now he seems to be working a fair amount. So that's good. But I just felt sad.
And then they did for Halloween 2.
So
Halloween Kills.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? So
by the way, yeah, I just saw that I guess was it Christopher Walken and Martin Sheen and Tom Skerritt are in the original Dead Zone.
Oh, that's it's David Cronenberg. That's my second favorite Stephen King movie.
Yeah,
I can watch Dead Zone any day.
So yeah, so I don't know who the Martin Sheen part is, and because I don't know who plays.
He plays he's the senator. He's running for Senate, and then he Walken touches his hand, and we find out that he does become president because that's his goal, and that he ends up nuking the world. And so Christopher Walken says, I have to kill him. And his big thing was with Herbert Lom, who's Jewish, is he says, if you had the opportunity to go back and kill Hitler and stop World War II, would you do it? And he says, yes. And that's where Walken gets the rifle and goes to the event that he's holding and tries shooting him. But he misses. Martin Sheen grabs a baby, holds it up as a shield, and that's all over the news.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's all over the news, destroys his career, and he commits suicide. So, because he touches him again as Christopher Walken is dying because he gets shot, he touches Martin Sheen's hand again, and he sees the vision of him committing suicide. So, it's great. It is a great movie. That all the stuff with Martin Sheen is awesome. And there we go, Martin Sheen. He was also in Firestarter.
Nice.
He was one of the guys in what's the secret organization? Not the company. It's help me out, Donald. Not the unit. It's somebody down below will say it. God, I always knew it. It's like the first time that this type of thing had been done was with Stephen King, I think. The Shop. It's The Shop. The Shop is always the ones that screw everything up.
Oh.
So like Firestarter, it's The Shop, and everything's The Shop.
I have to rewatch Firestarter. I have it, obviously. The original.
I haven't seen Firestarter either. I haven't read the book either, so
it is all practical effects. When she's when Drew Barrymore is shooting out those fireballs, it's all practical effects. It looks great as people explode. It is so good.
They should do I know they did Castle Rock, but they should do more sort of the Stephen King multiverse thing, where all the different movies and TV characters, they don't have to have the same actors play them. It'd be even more fun if they're different actors, but there's Carrie can be fighting the little, whatever her name is, and Drew Barrymore's character, Charlie.
All
that stuff.
Her name is Charlie.
So Charlie and Carrie, can fight each other, and all these different things could be happening, and then they all meet up at the Shining, hotel.
At the hotel, yeah.
That would be such a great movie, but unfortunately, I don't know what
they did. A little bit of that in Cat's Eye. At the very beginning, when you see the cat running around, it's running around, and then all of a sudden Cujo pops out from behind a fence, and then the cat runs across the road, and Christine almost hits the cat. And it's got little things like that at the beginning of it. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 little nods to the other movies.
Okay.
Let me see, because there's a remake of Cujo happening, by the way.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Well, maybe they'll do the ending that they should have done, because in the book, the kid does not live in
I don't
the book.
I don't even know if this is an actual legit remake, because Even though it says based on the book by Stephen King in the thing, it's not even called just Cujo. It's called let me look it up. It's crazy because I just saw it in because there's a lot in development. There's Creepshow that's in development. Cujo, Canine Unit Joint Operations.
I agree with Donald's face.
So it says novel by Stephen King. I'm like, that doesn't have anything to do with it.
So is it going to be like that movie Man's Best Friend with
That's
Lance
what it sounds like to me. I don't know.
Oh God.
So the movies in development right now are Creepshow, The Eyes of the Dragon, which is based on a book by him, Home Delivery, The Jaunt,
short story,
The Breathing Method,
short story,
a remake by Apt Pupil.
Okay.
A remake of Apt Pupil, Doorway,
there
Cujo thingy, Pray for Us, which is spelled Prey. The Reaper's Image. Do you have that novel?
Is it a novel or a short story?
Yeah, it's a novel. It says novel.
What is it?
It's called The Reaper's Image. Based on the girl who loved Tom Gordon.
Oh, they changed the title.
Oh, I do have the girl who loves Tom Gordon.
Rose Matter, Popsy,
Joyland. They're gonna remake Rose Matter?
Popsy, Joyland, Drunken Fireworks, which is a story.
Popsy's vampire.
Cessation, Bad Little Kid, The Talisman.
Yeah, I've heard that's been in development for a long time. That was originally George Romero, I think.
Revival, which I know you have, Donald. You pointed that out before.
Haven't read it yet.
The Tommy Knockers, The Regulators.
Oh, okay. Well, we already had Desperation.
The Bone Church, The 10 O'Clock People, Suffer the Little Children.
That's a good one. That I would like to make as a short.
Well, they're making it into something. It's happening.
So Stephen King never has to write again. I mean, he just live off of movies based off of his books, since they're now doing like 2 or 3 remakes of the same thing.
Right. Strawberry Spring.
Plus, he writes a book every year, so
yeah,
almost every year.
Strawberry Spring, Rest Stop, Rat, From a Buick 8. It's getting an adaptation. Fairy Tale, Duma King, and I said Christine and Carrie before. Blaze, Billy Summers, and that's it. Right now, the ones that are coming out in 2023 is The Boogeyman, which I saw previews to or posters to and stuff. So, Untitled Pet Cemetery Project says it's coming out 2023. I'm guessing that's going to get pushed. Ones that are in production right now are Seda Hamada. Don't know that one, but it says there's a short story by him. Salem's Lot is in production right now.
That one, yeah.
One for the Road, which is based on a book.
That One for the Road is actually a short story that is, I believe, like a sequel to Salem's Lot.
Oh, cool. I Know What You Need. Death Room. The Long Walk. So I don't know how they're going to do that.
Especially with all the kids getting killed.
I know. The Gingerbread Girl. Sleeping Beauties. Mile 81. Graduation Afternoon. The Running Man is getting a remake.
Yeah, because the movie has absolutely nothing to do with the book.
Oh, the Arnold Schwarzenegger one?
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. Except for him playing the game, that's it. That's the only thing it has. Because the original actors they wanted was Richard Dreyfuss or Mel Gibson before he went nuts. So you could see where they were. That's closer to the character in the book than Schwarzenegger. Wow. Yeah, I love the Running Man with Schwarzenegger, but it's
and last but not least is the Institute. So those are what's coming out or being in development, you know, for this. So interesting, because like, I guess people have those things where you pay like, you know, $1 or something to Stephen King.
Dollar babies.
Dollar babies, like you have to prove that you can make something or whatever, you know.
No. Oh no. It's there is a list. You can Google it. They're just called Stephen King dollar babies, and it's a list of about 10 stories. Children of the Corn was one of them. There's actually a short film called Disciple of the Crow. It's on YouTube. That was Children of the Corn, but then when the studio bought Children of the Corn, they had to change the title. So that was one of them. But what it is that you just pick one of the stories that you want. Woman in the Room is one. The Boogeyman is one. And you go through the process. You pay the $1, and then you go through the process of them saying, okay, and you can make it. And I worked on one. I worked on Mute, I believe is what it's called. And where I was, I think like just a PA or something on it. I was something, not a PA, but I did multiple jobs. But a certain filmmaker that we know who likes to make 60-minute movies to try to get into the Guinness Book of World Records claimed on his Facebook page a little differently when it came to the dollar babies, that Stephen King's people had reached out to him, that he was waiting to hear from it, and he was going to do The Woman in the Room, which is the film
DF.
What's that?
It's a DF.
Yeah.
I was Dia?
DF.
Oh, DF, yes. And Frank Darabont did the first version of The Woman in the Room, and he got Stephen King's complete, backing on that. And that's how he got his first directing job, was because of The Woman in the Room. And that's the one that DF did. But he made it sound like Stephen King.
Like Stephen King reached out to him. Specifically asked him, will you please make my movie?
Exactly.
Will you please make this little movie for me?
And he would
I owe you my life.
Facebook every day, letting us know. And it's like, dude, it's just a dollar baby. That's all you're doing is a dollar baby.
Did he ever do it?
Yeah, he made it.
But I don't even see it on his IMDb.
At least I think he made it. I'm pretty sure, because he had a cast and everything.
Oh, yeah, he did. It's a short,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. But yeah, so that's...
Supposedly you can't release it or something like that. I mean, you can put it up like stream for free or whatever, but you can't release it on DVD and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that there are Stephen King Dollar Baby festivals you can put it in.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know as far as like making money off of it, or...
Yeah, I mean, you can take it from a short to a feature.
I don't know. I guess you could, but the idea is to make the short film make the short story into a short film. I don't think it has any features in there.
Yeah, but you can make a short film into a feature. You can...
Right, but I don't know if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, let me see if there's a so it does have it. So for filmmakers out there that wanna do this, take advantage of this thing, is that these stories are not under contract for movies, which means they are available for film students who want to try their hands at Stephen King's story. If you want to be one of my dollar babies, send us your info, Steve King. Titles available for adaptation are All That You Love Will Be Carried Away, Beach World, Big Wheels as Tale of the Laundry Game, Milkman number 2, Kane Rose Up, Dedication, The Doctor's Case, Graduation Afternoon, In the Death Room. So I'm guessing a lot of these things that say The Death Room, these are shorts then that are getting made and stuff. So that's why there's so many movies. So I bet there's a few of these. The Last Rung on the Ladder, the LT's Theory of Pets, Lucky Quarter, The Man Who Loved Flowers, The Man Who Would Not Shake Hands, Morning Deliveries, Mute, the one you mentioned, Nona, One for the Road, Rainy Season, The Reach, Stationary Bike, That Feeling, you can only say what it is in French. That's the title. Willa, and The Women in the Room. It's a request for rights. Using the formula, you can contact us to request the rights to create your own dollar baby.
Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, it's
contracts are not hand signed by Stephen King. You cannot have more than $1 baby contract at a time. If you submit more than one request, all subsequent requests are ignored. The term of the contract are subject to change without notice. So,
I would love to do Rainy Season. That's about frogs that drop from the sky, like mutant frogs.
Nice.
Yeah, I think like people are trapped in a house and it's got these frogs, and I remember really enjoying that. That's from Nightmares and Dreamscapes, the novel or the short stories.
Nice. Well, there you go. So there's a few interesting titles. So
yeah,
I wouldn't do that just because. I mean, other than saying I'm directing something that Stephen King or writing something that Stephen King wrote based on, it would do me no good, you know? Like, it's just like doing fan films. It's just they don't, to me, they don't serve any purpose, you know? They just kind of I don't mind watching them, but I wouldn't make one.
Well, these days I think they're done more, but back then I think the only ones that were done, and they were students, like Frank Darabont with The Woman in the Room. There was The Boogeyman, and there was I think it was only those two. Actually.
I'm wondering how he knew about it, because like he didn't have the internet back in '84.
It was probably done through magazines and stuff like that.
Probably.
Maybe his books or something had a thing at the end and said, if you want to do it, if you
yeah,
want to make
it's possible. Yeah. You know. So
probably.
But so we should wrap this up.
Yeah.
So anything else you guys want to talk about with King before we wrap it up?
I'm trying to think, because you had said a couple things or whatever.
Yeah, like how we discovered Stephen King, what like the first book was, what was the first movie, and all that.
Oh,
but
no,
we got into other stuff.
Yeah. What about you? One of you guys, like, how did you discover Stephen King?
I think I did through Salem's Lot, the TV series. I probably saw it on television first, and then just heard about Stephen King. I think Carrie was the first one I ever read. I think I'm the same as Donald, because I wanted to start from the beginning and continue to go through. So I started with that and then just went into each one after that for a while. But I don't fully remember. I remember a friend of mine who was older than me. Unfortunately, he passed away. His name is Daryl. He told me that when he was originally watching it on television and the kid floats up into the window, is like tapping on it, that he was getting a BJ from his girlfriend. And while she was doing it, she was watching it. And when that kid popped up in the window and tapped on it, she bit him.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it was like, just dead. He's like, oh, fuck.
That's funny. What about you, Donald?
Well, mine is kind of similar to John's. When
BJ and all.
I was not like that. I was hanging out with a buddy of mine, and his mom was a big horror fan. She was like, it got to a point to where he moved away, and I still kept in contact with his mom and his stepdad. And she introduced me to Stephen King through the movie Riding the Bullet, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. That was my very first I guess that would be my first exposure to Stephen King, because I didn't really know, I didn't read the books, and then it wasn't until a couple years later, in high school, when I had required reading, and I read Carrie, which I didn't know at the time was his first novel. I just picked it up. I was like, oh, Carrie, okay. Well, I read it, and then I failed the test because I didn't know. Because when I was going to high school, they had like required reading. You had to take tests and stuff, and had to get so many points per semester or whatever. And one of the questions was, where do the kids hang out after school? Like, how am I going to remember that?
Where did they?
I think I did. Frick, hold on. I think I did underline. Hold on. I just found it. Oh, maybe.
I don't. Was there a hangout in Cary? I know
Kelly's Fruit Company. Right now. So, yeah.
Kelly's Fruit Company.
That's what it is. Kelly.
Well, damn it, Kelly. How are we gonna remember that shit?
Exactly. I was like, dude, not how did spoiler alert, how did Carrie do something at the end?
But I can understand them maybe asking something like, what animal did they kill to get the blood? Because then somebody may think a goat, a sheep, maybe a dog, pig. Yeah. So it's that to me would seem more like a reasonable question to ask. So
yeah, but it is what it is. So it wasn't until a couple of years later that I watched a guy on YouTube that was all about Stephen King, and when I learned about the whole every one of his books are connected, not so much that you have to read all books in certain orders, except for a few. Like if you read The Outsider, it's spoiler Salem's Lot, straight up. Yes, King's kind of a jerk like that. So it's gonna spoil his own books, and then so I went and read. I wanted to read Carrie again. The library didn't have a copy, so I read Salem's Lot, went back to Carrie, then I burned myself out of Stephen King. And had to take a little bit of a
Stephen King burnout.
Stephen King burnout, man. It's real. The struggle is real.
The struggle is real.
Well, what about you, Jonathan?
So I was like thinking about it. I probably first heard about it when I watched Pet Sematary or something, like I want to say that. I don't know. He's just sort of one of those author names that you hear in school, you know what I mean? Like and whatnot. You hear, a Stephen King novel or whatever, So I know Pet Sematary is the original Pet Sematary obviously was the first Stephen King movie I watched, and that was probably on like cable, or whatever. Like, how USA used to have all the better like horror stuff, before they became the USA that they are today, but they used to have like horror stuff. I probably watched it on one of those things, but because I don't think I ever rented it, at the video store when I was a kid. Might have, but I don't think I did. And then, years later, I had to watch it on TV or whatever somewhere else, and so Pet Sematary is probably the movie that got me into Stephen King. Then later it's The Shining and and Carrie and I think I remember it being on television, and stuff too for the miniseries, but like or whatever, but I don't think I watched it. And I think it's because it was too long and I had no interest in watching like I had a short attention span, still do. So, like watching something like that I could watch it now, but I still to this day will pause something and go do something else and whatever and come back and finish, long movie or whatever. So just don't have time to sit down and just watch something. you know, or like, yeah.
All right, there we go.
That's my long-winded answer for that. I don't know. Like that's the only thing I could think of because I don't read the books. And it's mainly once again it's like looking at the length. I just I have too many movies to watch and too many podcasts to do and too many scripts to write. I like reading stuff can sort of sometimes get, sort of like in the way of doing a million other things. So but
you can read Carrie. It's only 290 pages.
Only 290. I mean
200.
That's
King is the Stand is like 1100 pages.
Yeah, I mean the Star Wars book I found, nothing to do with Stephen King, but the Star Wars book I found is 338 pages. I'm not going to be reading that either right now, Just don't have time, man. It's hard, to have to, I don't know. I have to
You're not the only
myself.
one. Not the only one. That's why they have audiobooks and stuff like that now. So
yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't maybe because it's almost like listening to a podcast. You could do it whenever. And I don't know. When I was a kid, like obviously when I was a kid, I read like Goosebumps and Fear Street, and that just shows you my age right there. So I wasn't really Stephen King was a little too far advanced when I was a kid. When I got older, I just didn't read any horror stuff really. So otherwise I would have been into him, Stephen King and Dean Koontz, but I just wasn't.
Believe it or not, I've tried to read Dean Koontz. I just can't do it, man.
Oh man, he's got some great books. Watchers is great. Midnight is not great, but it's good. The Strangers, Phantoms.
I mean, bomb and Phantoms. Maybe I'm just grabbing the wrong books because I tried to read Dragon Tears, which I've heard everyone says is one of his better books. I just couldn't get into it, man. I just couldn't do it.
That's okay.
I don't know.
You don't have to read every horror guy, and everything. I mean, if you're a Stephen King fan, just read Stephen King.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm not into reading much at all just because I just don't have time. Like if I had more time, yeah. But I mean, when I don't have time, when I would have the time to read, I want to sleep, or whatever, want to relax. Like want to turn on YouTube or something, that just distracts me for 10 minutes, or whatever. So it's just I just don't do it. But like my niece reads, my parents read. I mean, I'm a writer, so I should be reading. I mean, that's where you learn how to write better,
Well, technically you're reading your scripts and stuff, so technically you're reading there. So I mean,
right. And I read other scripts, and I read that book on writing. I like books about writing, when I'm about to write, because I just love to learn about that. I just don't have time to read fictional books and stuff. I want to, but I just like if I can find the time sometime, I'll probably try to read something. But it's difficult. I'm sure John understands too, coming home from work and then maybe doing a podcast or watching a movie for a podcast, then you don't really have time to just sit down and go, I'd love to read a good book,
It's it could be. Well, that's why I've started listening to the audiobooks in the car. So I just listened to Steve Jones, the guitarist from the Sex Pistols, his book and about the Sex Pistols, which they made into the mini series. And nice. I found that on YouTube uncut. So I downloaded it and just played it in my car. So whenever I was in my car,
thumb drive, right?
Yeah. Nice. It took like 2 weeks, because it would be drive 30 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it is, but it would just turn on and I would just listen to it. So that's how I kind of do it. If I'm really interested in something, I'll do like an audiobook in the car. So, but all right, man.
Since the pandemic, after the pandemic, when we were allowed to come back to work, my job allowed us to listen to music and stuff. So that's how I get a lot of my reading done now. Is while I'm working, I'm allowed to listen to stuff. So I throw on an audiobook. Recently, it's been nonfiction more than fictions, but nothing wrong with that.
Well, that's nice that they let you listen to music and stuff, you know. Like,
I mean, they weren't like that before, but I guess because everyone's like scared that we were gonna, not come back, and I guess they were all, like, oh, we're sorry, you have to wear a mask and stuff. Here, listen to music. That'll take your mind off of having to wear a mask and stuff the entire time, especially how hot it gets in there.
right.
So, I mean, it's better.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap this up. So.
Alrighty.
Okay. So, yeah. So I guess that's it. I think that's a good place to end it. And if there's nothing else, then we'll say goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye.